Welcome everyone. Today's webinar for the Workflow Design Applet. I will be walking you through the tools you need to build and manage dynamic workflow within this platform. This applet allow you to define exactly how the business process flow from one step to the next step and can be uh, configured through this applet. So by end of this session, you're able to navigate the workflow design applet, create and configure a complete workflow process, and define process status and resolutions, manage automatic actions, and configure the applet settings and the permission. First of all, I show you the navigation overview. First menu we have on the left side is the process. So for this menu, what it does is to build and manage full workflow lifecycle, the status, transition, and the details. And then we have the process status. So this menu, what it does is define the specific states a record can be in. Based on the process, is this a draft status or approved? So that kind of things. And then we have the process resolutions, which is a set of outcome resolution for completing the process. And we have the action, categorizing and configure the types of action available for the transition. And we have the action type. So action type is also the categorization and configure the types of action available for transition. And we have the settings and personalization. So settings is to provide you the permissions, and the personalization is for personal settings for default selection. So I go with the process management in detail. The module is, or the feature is your command center for workflow design. A process ties everything together. So creating and editing the process. So when you are creating, you are able to provide the name and what is the process type. Is this sequential, parallel, cycle, or conditional process? And then what can be the status of this and the transition of the process. So you can link, after creating the process, you can link the status, what status you're gonna create in the process status. It will be linked to that process. So based on the status you are creating, any of the status you can create to any of the process. And then we have the transition tab. So here you can do the transition based on the role. So this is where the magic happens, you can say. Here you define the specific path a record can take. For example, you define that a record in draft status can move to pending approval, but cannot skip straight to approved. So these kind of things can be configurable. So what things need to be transitioned from to, you can define to this screen. So from which status, which other status can be transitable, you can define, and you can fix this from this transition linking using the process for this specific process. So we have the process status. Next is process status. Here, before you can build the process, you need to build the blocks as mentioned. The process status is module allows you to define every possible state a record could find itself. So creating a status, for example, like in progress, under review, or supplier pending, or completed. So here by using the create, you can create the status name. So then these are kept in a central repository, so they can be reused across different processes. So then you can link the process status to the process. So next is process resolutions. While a status tells you where a record or where a process currently is, And a resolution tells you the outcome when the process ends. So you can create the process resolution, and then you can link with the process. For example, a status might be closed, but the resolution could be closed successful or closed cancelled by user. So resolution gives you a clear data for reporting. So next is action. So action is defining the workflow path is great, but automating task along that path is even better. So using the action in this module, you define actions that occur automatically when a workflow moves from one status to another status. So for example, you want to send an email notification when a document is approved. Need to trigger a third-party integration when the record is rejected. So you configure those automatic triggers right here. So this module allows you to define the types of action available. So it helps you organize the automation catalog to administrate can easily select the right kind of action you are building during the transition. So you can provide the action name, and then what are the workflow process. So whatever process you created in the process menu, you're able to select here. And then what are the action type and the status. So before creating the action, you need to create the action type. So the workflow for the action type, so whatever action type you want to create, you can provide the name and put the description. So after creating the action type, you're able to link the action through the workflow action type selection. Next is the settings part. So in the settings, you have the application settings. You can define what are the things you want to hide or you want to show to all the system user, and what are the information like the doc settings and anything you want to change. You can put you can use the configuration through the application settings. And then the default selection and the printable format. So in a printable format, I want to use to print the workflow design you can have. So this one actually there is some predefined printable for configurable one can be requested through the admin panel. So in a summary, the workflow design applet have the process management where build the full structure of your workflow with details, status, and transition. And next is the process status and resolution, which define the steps and the final outcome. And we have the action, so which is allow you to automate activities like what will happen whenever the transition is happening, and the action type to define what will be the type of the action. So thank you. That's all for the workflow design applet.